The month of March is right around the corner. Spring is starting to spring. You should probably get your taxes done, but more importantly, there are new games coming out for the Nintendo Switch. And in today's video, I'm going to talk about 11 brand new games coming to the Nintendo Switch in the month of March that you should probably be on the lookout for. What's up guys, I'm RGT85. If this is your first time on the channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button. But without any further ado, let's get into 11 brand new games coming to the Nintendo Switch in March of 2020. So to kick things off, we have a new Pokemon game that's technically not new because it's a remake of an offshoot Pokemon game that originally came out in 2005, with Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Rescue Team DX coming out on March 6th for the Nintendo Switch. Now this is a remake of the original Pokemon Mystery Dungeon, which released on the Game Boy Advance back in 2005. At the start of the game, you basically do a personality test, and based on the answers that you give in that personality test, you become a Pokemon instead of a human. The basis of the game has you going into different dungeons and battling various types of Pokemon while trying to save others. The dungeons themselves feature many different floors and layouts throughout, so it can be fun to explore these and find different things like hidden items and hidden Pokemon. The Switch version of the game has some new features over the original game, such as adding in Mega Evolutions, an autosave feature, and an auto mode that pretty much plays the game for you. Now the graphical style of the game has been completely overhauled from the original Pokemon Mystery Dungeon, and looks a lot like a watercolor painting. And while personally I'm not a huge fan of the graphical style, I do think there are some people out there that seem to dig it, so that's pretty cool for them. Honestly, I probably won't be playing Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Rescue Team DX, as I've just sort of moved on from the Pokemon franchise. I played this game back in the day when it first came out, and it's a fun little offshoot game, if not a bit on the easy side. But if you're a hardcore Pokemon fan, March 6th will definitely be a day you're looking forward to. Next up, we have Langrisser 1 and 2 coming out on the Nintendo Switch on March 10th. Now, if you're looking to scratch your Fire Emblem itch with something a bit more old school, Langrisser 1 and 2 will probably do the job for you. Now, Langrisser originally released on the Sega Genesis in North America as a game called Warsong, and it also received a sequel that never saw a North American release on the Sega Genesis, that being Langrisser 2. The games are basically classic strategy RPGs from the 16-bit era, but these versions of the game have been vastly improved. The game features new additional art in the game, HD graphics, new cutscenes, and new music. You can toggle between a classic mode, however, if you want to experience the original 16-bit goodness. Now, considering you're getting two strategy RPGs in one package, if you are a fan of the genre, you will probably want to snag Langrisser 1 and 2 when it comes out on the Nintendo Switch on March 10th. Next up, we have Dead or School, which is coming out on March 13th. Now, honestly, Dead or School is a game that I had never heard of before, but that's why I enjoy doing these types of videos, because in my research, I often learn about new games that I probably would have completely missed. Dead or School is a 2.5D hack-and-slash action-adventure game that has you playing as a girl named Hisako, who is trying to save Tokyo after it has been infested with various types of zombies. The game has you acquiring a bunch of different types of weapons that you can customize by mixing parts together you find in levels and by defeating zombies, and you also get some different abilities along the way too. The game looks pretty fast paced and honestly kind of reminds me of a Vanillaware game, which is a very good thing in my opinion. The art style looks really nice, the environments seem pretty cool, and I like some of the huge monsters you come across in battle as well. Dead or School, like I said, comes out on March 13th, and if you're a fan of 2.5D hack-and-slash adventure games, this might be a game you want to check out. Take me out to the ball game, take me out to the crowd, because RBI Baseball 2020 is coming to the Nintendo Switch on March 17th. RBI Baseball 2020 is the fourth game released in the RBI series for the Nintendo Switch, and honestly every year I get more and more disappointed in this series. But alas, maybe the fourth time is the charm with this series. RBI Baseball 2020 is essentially a simulation baseball game, and while the show is eventually coming to the Nintendo Switch, this is the only baseball game on the Nintendo Switch currently. On paper, the improvements that they've added in RBI Baseball 2020 sound really good. The controls have been revamped that actually allow you more control over your pitching and your hitting. The presentation is said to be improved with more camera angles. The character models have been greatly improved over last year's game, and there's just a whole slew of new features that are being promised. While I am hesitant to think that it's going to be a good baseball game, it does sound like they actually tried a bit more to make this a more authentic baseball experience. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. fool me 4 times? Well, I guess I'm just an idiot. And I'll be picking up RBI Baseball 2020 when it comes out on March 17th. Also on March 17th, we have La Mulana 1 and 2 Hidden Treasures Edition. Now, La Mulana actually started out as a freeware game that was supposed to be similar to classic MSX games. The game ended up becoming a full-fledged game, and it was pretty popular and actually received a sequel on the PC. The collection of both games is now coming to the Nintendo Switch as La Mulana 1 and 2 Hidden Treasures Edition. La Mulana 1 and 2 are basically retro-styled 16-bit Metroidvania games, which is a pretty commonplace genre nowadays, but this was one of the original games that really started to start off this revival of this classic genre. There's puzzles, there's large boss battles, different sub-weapons, and a ton of different areas to explore. The game is known for being pretty difficult, but since it's a retro-inspired game, this shouldn't come as a huge surprise. There's also a deluxe collector's edition of this game that's coming out. There's also a deluxe collector's edition of the game as well that features a big box, a manual, a soundtrack, and a puzzle because, I don't know, I guess people like puzzles. La Mulana 1 and 2 Hidden Treasures Edition will be out on the Switch on March 17th and might scratch your 2D platformer itch. On March 20th, we have arguably the biggest game coming out in the month of March for the Nintendo Switch with Animal Crossing New Horizons. Now, Animal Crossing New Horizons is of course the latest entry in the Animal Crossing series, and we just got a Nintendo Direct on the game as well. You're basically put out onto an island, and you have a lot of freedom in what you can do with this island, really making it your sort of thing. You can customize your character and their home. You do things like customize your character, you customize the place you live in, and you can eventually get a house and customize that too. You can customize the layout on the island, and of course more inhabitants will come onto your island and interact with you. There's a really deep crafting system as well that has you collecting different materials to build different things within the game. And of course you can do the standard Animal Crossing stuff such as gardening, fishing, decorating your layout, and much more. The game does feature up to 8 players online as well, so if you want to have some friends come over to your island, you could do that too. There's going to be seasonal events that are added in real time during the seasons that are available to you, so that'll keep you playing the game for much longer. Now personally, I think this looks like a great Animal Crossing game, but as someone who was big into Animal Crossing on the GameCube and the DS, I feel like my time with the series has just sort of passed. I think the game looks great for what it is, but something about it just really isn't calling to me, and honestly, I probably won't even end up reviewing it. Maybe I'll check out some other of my peers' reviews when the game comes out on March 20th and see if maybe I'm missing something with this game. But if you're into Animal Crossing or at least curious about the series, I'm confident to say that Animal Crossing New Horizons will be a great game when it releases on March 20th. Also on March 20th, we have Doom 64 coming out for the Nintendo Switch. Now this was supposed to coincide with the release of Doom Eternal, which was originally supposed to come out on March 20th for the Switch as well, but the Switch version of the game has been delayed. But Doom 64 will still be coming out on March 20th. Doom 64 is of course the classic Nintendo 64 game that many Doom fans seem to really love, but of course it got sort of lost to the trials of time due to it being an N64 game. This revamped version of Doom 64 includes things like better textures, better control, and the most important thing, better lighting. The original Doom 64 was a very dark game, and when I say a dark game, I mean it was hard to see things, and I'm definitely happy to see that they've improved the visual status of Doom 64 for this re-release of the game. While we will have to wait a bit longer for Doom Eternal to come to the Switch, Doom 64 should be a hell of a good time, and it also releases on March 20th. On March 27th, we have Saints Row 4 ReElected coming to the Nintendo Switch. Now, whereas the first 2 Saints Row games were essentially trying to be like GTA clones, Saints Row 3 honestly got a bit crazy. Saints Row 4, however, takes the crazy meter and dials it up to 100, which I think makes the game look pretty unique. You play as the President of the United States, and you're pretty much a superhero, and you can do things like leap over buildings, customize your character in a ton of different ways, and much, much more. The missions in the story are very sci-fi based and feature a ton of references to things like pop culture, movies, music, and even other video games. There's a drop-in online co-op system if you want to take on a mission with a friend, and Saints Row 4 ReElected for the Nintendo Switch also features 25 additional DLC packs as well to extend the life of the game that are included with the game for free. Of course, Saints Row 3 came out on the Nintendo Switch, but was riddled with some tech issues that supposedly plagued other versions of the game due to the original source code of the game. So hopefully Saints Row 4 is a better running experience on the Nintendo Switch. because honestly, if the game runs well, this could end up being one of the most fun Nintendo Switch experiences for fans of open world games. On March 31st, we have a game called The Complex coming out. Now, full motion video games are a genre that I absolutely used to hate, but over the years, I've grown to enjoy them for some strange reason. The Complex is a new full motion video game coming out on the Nintendo Switch that takes place in London after a bio attack happens. You're basically in a laboratory and you're tasked with some hard decisions to make along the way. The Complex does feature some interesting additions to the standard FMV gameplay as well. There's a real-time relationship status tracker that influences the story as you play the game. There's real-time personality trait trackers that evolve based on your choices, and the game actually features 8 different endings. The publisher of this game is the same company who brought The Bunker and Late Shift over to the Nintendo Switch, which were pretty enjoyable FMV games, so I'm hopeful that this one will be a good experience as well. The Complex comes out on March 31st, and if you like FMV stuff, you might like the game. Also on March 31st, we have Ty the Tasmanian Tiger coming to the Nintendo Switch. Now, this is just really bizarre to me. Ty the Tasmanian Tiger was a 3D platformer that released during the PS2 and the GameCube era. You play it as a Tasmanian tiger named Ty, a lot of alliteration there, and it was your standard 3D collectathon platformer that took place on a fictional Australian island. A version of the game for the Nintendo Switch was announced via Kickstarter and met the goal, and now the game is coming out on March 31st. They seem to be taking this version of the game really seriously though, as they've added in a bunch of new stuff such as full dynamic shadows, there's color correction and bloom effects, there's high definition art textures for all of the levels and the characters, and even optional motion controls for certain aspects of the gameplay. If you're a fan of collectathon 3D platformers and you've checked out all the other offerings on the Switch in the genre, this might be a game that should be on your radar. Does our stupid Australian wood make an appearance in this game? Who knows? Who really knows? And the final game is Cooking Mama Cookstar, which will be releasing sometime in March of 2020. It still does not have a concrete release date. Cooking Mama, of course, got pretty popular on the Nintendo DS, and I'm really not sure why. I remember playing the original Cooking Mama game, and it was okay, but it wasn't a game that I was super interested in. But a lot of people seem to be hyped about a new Cooking Mama game coming to the Switch. You basically cook stuff. You have different ingredients, you mix these ingredients together, and yeah, you cook stuff. You can also take pictures of your cooking as well, because you gotta flex for the gram. It's honestly got a cult following though, so I kind of do get it. I won't be playing Cooking Mama Cookstar when it comes out in March, but maybe you will, and maybe you could cook me some delicious dishes. Alright, so those are 11 brand new games coming to the Nintendo Switch in the month of March of 2020. Let me know in the comments section down below what games you have on your radar, what games you plan on picking up, and what games you aren't interested in. And as always guys, thank you for checking out this video. Like I said at the start, if you are new to the channel, make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications. Be sure to check out other videos on the channel as well, and as always, I'll catch you guys on the next video. Later.